Hello, how you doing? Happy Tuesday. Hope you're doing well in this COVID-addled world. Thank you for coming into my little world, where tea is essential. Oh, do you have a nice weekend? I hope so. I hope everybody's feeling good. I hope everybody's staying safe. I hope everybody's masked up and is practicing social distancing. And, if you're lucky enough to live in a country where they had a solid COVID response plan and you're now reaping those benefits, well, I am proud of you. I'm happy for you. And everybody else, just stay safe. We got this. Light is at the end of the tunnel. Fingers crossed. Okay, truncated um, show somewhat today, and I'll tell you why. Uh, I am, I kind of, well, not kind of about it. After just a couple of days after my birthday last December, I slipped in the shower, which is it's the oldest old man thing you can do. I slipped in the bloody shower. I turned 50, and I went, eh. And what I did was, I thought I pulled a muscle, but I hadn't. I had done something to my hip. Um, and so this weekend it got so bad, actually, after my last stream with you guys on Friday, it got so bad that I ended up going to a chiropractor. And she's given me some exercises. I'm on some pain pills. I'm going to see her again tomorrow. But it means that standing, sitting for any prolonged period of time isn't exactly on the agenda. So yes, me being old and comically old, I am about a week away from one of those things that hang around your neck and you go, I've fallen and I can't get up. Don't get old, or if you do get old, don't get old like I did. Don't smoke too much, drink too much, and then don't work not work out like I've done. So thankfully, there are exercises I'm doing. It'll be recovery's a couple of weeks, but I'll be good. And then I've got to stretch because apparently the older you are, the more stretchy you've got to be. A couple of bits of housekeeping in addition. If you have questions, please hold on to the questions till the end of the stream. That way I don't miss anything. That way I can stay in my flow, talk about bits and bobs, and then we can actually have a good chat with the tea. Last bit of housekeeping. Tomorrow's stream probably won't happen. As I said, I actually have an appointment at the chiropractor at 1, which I have to hit. The other thing is that I'm going to be I don't think I'm going to be in a good space anyway. Tomorrow is the service for my uncle who passed away a couple of weeks ago, so I'm going to be up at 2 a.m. local time here, 10 a.m. in the UK to watch his service, which I can't obviously be at. So yeah, between tiredness, that and just being a little sore from the chiropractor tomorrow's stream won't happen, but I'll be back on Friday. Might even add one on Thursday if something comes along. Anywho, let's talk. Oh my god, Mike Zero, thank you so much. Mike Zero subscribed to my. I think I now have 2 subscribers, and now I know Mike Zero is one. So thank you, Mike. I'm not sure who the other one is. Please let me know so I can thank you personally, because I would love to. You are awesome. And thank you, Connoisseur Gamer, for following me right now. And HF132071. Anyway, boom, let's talk some gaming stuff. I really enjoyed last Friday's show. If you missed it, it's on the YouTube channel, YouTube/Marcus Beer. Not Annoyed Gamer, that's been commandeered by somebody. So Marcus Beer has all of those. Plus, I think you can get the last couple of shows on Twitch anyway. But it was nice. It was nice to talk to everybody. It was nice to do a little bit of a rant and come from a semi-informed informed perspective. That's a rarity these days, for me anyway. And so today, while I was soaking in the tub this morning, soaking my back in a hot bath of various salts and herbs and unguents, as my wife had put in, I smell wonderful, by the way, and my skin is so soft, and my back, is slowly healing. But yeah, while I was on in the bath, I saw some tweets from some people I follow and have a lot of time for, and they were talking about what I'm going to talk to you about now, which is PlayStation and the interview that Jim Ryan, who's the head of PlayStation, gave with the British arm of GQ magazine. He talked about a few things, and one of the more, one of the main topics that I'm going to get to towards the end of this. But he talked about VR, and he talked about PlayStation 5 VR, how it's in development and how the kits are out in the wild, and that it's going to be a single cable connection. Hallelujah! As somebody who bought PSVR for the PS4, and I don't begrudge doing it because I've had some great experiences with it. Star Trek Bridge Commander, playing with a couple of friends. That was actually, it's so limited, but a lot of fun. But God, it's a lot of work to keep that PlayStation PS4 VR connected, and there's lots of cables. So one cable is a great, 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 great thing to have. So well done, thank you for that. He also talks about how it's still going to be tough to get a PS5 for the foreseeable future. Anybody who doesn't think that's an issue, also didn't think that anyone who thought that was going to change quickly is smoking the wacky backy, because we know we're in a pandemic. We know the production capabilities are limited, and we know that the online ordering systems for Sony and for Microsoft and for the retailers is infested with bots, like a sailor with a dose of the crabs. Yeah, Mike. Bring that thing back to my what your comment. Let's talk about it towards the end. Absolutely. So yes, what else does he talk about? He talks about how he talks about PC games and how Sony and PlayStation will be bringing more of their exclusives to the PC. They did it with Horizon Zero Dawn last year, and the next one is hang on, where is it? Hang on, I'm scrolling down. It was on my I was in the tip of my tongue. Shit, I can't remember the name of the game. Come on, Days Gone. That's it. Thank you, Mike. Yes. Sony just announced a state of play 6 minutes ago this Thursday. I am so not going to be streaming opposite that. Maybe I'll do I'll stream it and live snark it or live talk about it. Perhaps I should get back into that. That should actually make E3 press conferences way more fun if I've got the capability to live snark them moving forward. So yes, Days Gone. And a lot of it's funny. I looked online. I looked at a lot of coverage for it on Twitter, and then I looked at the comments below. And honestly, having seen some of the reactions from people to the reactions, I expected to find a shit ton of blowback. Now, maybe I'm looking in the wrong place. Probably am. I don't really go digging deep where the fanboys go because I don't want to catch something. You know what I'm saying? And yes, if you're a hardcore fanboy or girl, you're probably riddled. You know what I mean? I don't have anything against people who love Sony or Microsoft or Nintendo or anything like that. I have issues against hardcore fanatics who are also gatekeepers. Those are the people I have a problem with. So yes, PC. I didn't actually find a lot of pushback against it. The occasional comment out of 405 where it's like, oh, I bought a PS5 for the exclusives. Oh, boo is me. So, and then, like I said, I probably missed a lot of it, which is probably good because my head was on. But let me say, anybody who is against Sony or Microsoft, I'm not going to bring Nintendo into the conversation because we know they don't share their toys. Against those companies having exclusives on the PC. How do I phrase this? Grow the fuck up. We're not talking about God of War 5 being a PC exclusive. We're talking about in my opinion, somewhat mediocre gaming Days Gone. I bought it for the PlayStation 4. I regretted it quite quickly. Um, so that game is what, 18 months, 2 years old? Um, then what was before that? Horizon Zero Dawn. Now, that was a good game, but that was also an early PS4 exclusive or a mid-range PS4 exclusive. So basically, Sony's digging up its back catalog and converting them to PC. Not even doing that much of a conversion. Shut up, Siri. Siri's having a bitch on my iPad. So yeah, we're talking about old games. We're talking about old games that have run their course. Old games that maybe won't get an upres to the PS5. They may get sequels, and I guarantee you the sequels will appear on the PS5 first. But to be so butthurt by 2 and 3-year-old games coming to the system that, to be honest with you, without the PC architecture, your fucking PS4s and your fucking PS5s wouldn't exist, because your fucking PS4s and your fucking PS5s are basically mid-range computers, mid-range gaming rigs in snazzy, sleek little boxes, which is great. It's what's known as lowering the barrier of access, so more people can get in and get to play all these great games. So what Sony and Microsoft do with their consoles is wonderful, and that makes it then easier to bring your games to PC. Microsoft have been doing it for a couple of years now. They've been really upping their game with the Games Pass on PC. Bunch of good stuff on there as well. Bunch of crap, admittedly, but a bunch of good stuff. And when they release something new, invariably it's on PC at the same time, and that's fantastic because more people get to play. You get crossplay if there's a multiplayer component, so that means the servers are more active. It brings more revenue into the publishers and the developers, which is a good thing, because the more money that gets pumped into the publishers and developers and makes a franchise more successful, the more likely you are as a gamer to get a sequel to your favorite franchise. Isn't that wonderful? And again, we're not even talking about day and date. We're not talking about Infamous 3. Don't mention Second Son. We're not talking about Infamous 3 coming to the PlayStation 5 as day and date on as PC. We're not doing that. We're talking about old games. So slow your roll. Chill. Have a chill pill. Have a bucket of chill pills. Mm. Frost Kitten, we'll talk about that in a second. So yes, it is a great, and look at me, I got my glasses clean out. It's become a security blanket. I like throwing it around. It's a great thing. Please don't knock it. Please, support it. If you don't have a high-end PC and you have a PlayStation 5, well done. I have a high-end PC. I don't have a PlayStation 5. I won't be able to get a PS5 for a while, but my high-end PC can run games like Horizon Zero Dawn. It could run a God of War. And if this means that Sony is going to generate extra revenue and bring a bunch of new games to people who have likely not had access to them before, then hallelujah. Hare Krishna, happy holidays. It's a good thing. Don't be so anally protective. Come on. Let's take a look at the chat room, see what's going on. Ooh. Yes, Xbox players are not crying over their exclusives being on PC day one. PlayStation games coming to the PC is a good thing. Yeah, I know. And look, I'm sure there is a very small subset of Xbox gamers who feel the same way and are like, yeah, I want Halo 6 only on my Xbox because I paid for my Xbox. And like, relax. It's not going to hurt you. It's not taking something away from you. Nobody's coming in and saying, haha, I am going to take your game and take away 5 features from it and put it on PC. They're not doing that. They're actual ports. And you know what's really actually kind of cool? When you look at them on PC, the systems they are designed on, by the way, they often look way better than the consoles. Maybe that's it. Maybe people are like, oh, I just spent $850 for a PS5 through a scalper. Maybe I should have bought a gaming rig. Maybe you should have. I would love to see Spider-Man, Spider-Man Miles Morales. I would love to see the Infamous series, God of War, Shadow of the Colossus. I mean, there's a whole slew of PlayStation games that would sing on a mid-level gaming PC, let alone a behemoth. And all it does is brings new people to the game, enables more people on the servers, because we know PlayStation is not exactly the hottest when it comes to wanting to do crossplay with Xbox. So their multiplayer being able to tap into PC expands the amount of people who are playing multiplayer games. Hurrah! Wee! Anyway, Bloodborne. No! Bloodborne. That's gaming masochism. Oh, I tried playing that game, and like, again, I'm just talking from my own experience. I love that people love how hard it is. I love how people, really, really get into it and dig that challenge. I'm not one of those. I like video games because I like video games to be enjoyable. As I get older, I generally tend to play them for the story and for the experience, not to get pwned 18 times in a row and have to go back and back and back and back again. So I am not going to belittle or take the piss out of anybody who loves Bloodborne or Dark Souls 1, 2, or 3, or whatever else From has done that is incredibly hard. But I am going to say, and this taps back into what I was saying about PC gamers or PlayStation people talking about PC, and PC gamers as well, who are like, oh, I'm PC master race. No, you're a fucking asshole. You can play games on any console you want, any system you want, enjoy it. No need to be a dick about it. But and so I'm not going to be a dick about Dark Souls, Demon Souls, any Souls. But please don't be a snob about it. I'm not going to be a snob about you playing a game over and over that is really tough to play and seems a bit masochistic to me. You enjoy it, that's great. All I ask is that if somebody says, "Oh, it would be great if there was an easier mode," so that again lowers the barrier of entry, you don't get all sniffy. And I'm not talking about anybody in this room. I'm talking about the people on the internet who get all sniffy with, well, if you can't handle Dark Souls 1 or 2, you shouldn't be playing it. May I recommend you buy an iPad and play Simpsons? Those are the people who have, again, we're using the term gatekeepers. Those are the snobs, the leets, who basically have very tiny genitalia and are just miserable fucks. Because it's not hurting you to add an easy mode. It's not hurting anybody to add an option to continue a game. Because guess what? If you want to be hardcore mega elite achievement unlocked, look at me. You can still do that. You don't have to go onto easy mode. You can go on fucking psycho mode and continue to get the shit beaten out of you or whatever until you get good enough to progress. And more power to you. Good for you. Booyah. Have a cookie. Just stop taking shit away from everybody else. And then it's, oh, it's diluting the game. It's diluting the feeling of the game. It's diluting. What's it diluting? The fact that games are made to be played, that games are made to be experienced, that games with good stories should be experienced by everybody regardless of their skill set. Let's face it, having a skill set to beat Mega Man or Metroid in 10 seconds flat, or to get through Bloodborne, Dark Souls, Demon Souls. That and $4.99 will get you a tasty beverage at Starbucks. I mean, it's great to have the sense of achievement, and you should enjoy it, and you should be proud that you've done it. But let's face it, it doesn't give you an extra 3 hours sexual performance. It doesn't make you smarter. It doesn't make you more attractive. It doesn't make your teeth whiter. At the end of the day, it's like saying, when I was 10, I read the Lord of the Rings trilogy from cover to cover. Well, good for me. What the fuck does that mean to anybody else? So just enjoy it and let others enjoy it. That's all I'm asking. Oh. All right. Let me go back up here. Boom, boom, boom. I play every game on easy or normal. I don't have enough time to play the same level for 10 hours because, yes, I'm not even a dad anymore. I mean, we don't have foster kids anymore. but I just can't do it. I can't. I would rather spend 80 hours or 140 hours in a game like Cyberpunk or Fallout or whatever, and really getting to grips and knowing every aspect of it than just repeating the grind over and over. That's why I don't play World of Warcraft anymore. Too fucking grindy. Thank you very much. Um, Let me see. And look, again, if you are a hardcore gamer who's playing this, I'm not belittling you. I'm only belittling the ones who are snobs. The same as when we're talking about the PC Master Race. Uh, da, da, da. Well, that's the. But so Frosty can. I see where you're coming from, but come on, it doesn't hurt you. Does it hurt you that if there's an easy mode in there? Because at the end of the day, you are going to get better at it. You can devote your time to it, and you're going to get that. You're going to set that goal for yourself and get better. If you feel that the addition of an easy mode is too much temptation, then that's a different story. It doesn't hurt you. It doesn't take anything away from your experience. Come on now. We all want people to enjoy, especially right now. We're in the middle of a fucking pandemic where, 500,000 people are dead. People haven't seen their loved ones in a year or more. I mean, let's just let people have their fun. Let people have their little bit of, joy. Share the joy with them of what you experience in a Bloodborne game. How about that? Wouldn't that be great? Raypad TV. Oh, now that's a pity. The Raypad subscribed, and that's a pity subscription. He knows how upset I am after Liverpool were soundly beaten by Everton, even though that second goal was never a penalty. But yes, he knows my boys are suffering, and therefore I'm suffering. He's a lovely man. Okay, let's scroll back down. The only thing that's holding me back from playing From Software games is the difficulty, says Connoisseur Gamer. Yes, difficulty. Make it a little easier. Make it harder as well. Give people more insane nightmare modes. Let's have some more of that. Let's go down. It has zero effect if people want the hard experience. Hurt no strong in the back of my mind. I just started Jedi Fallen Order on the most difficult, and the fact that I can put it back on Jedi Knight is too tempting. I do understand why people aren't in the challenge wanting an easier mode. Yeah, not everybody wants that particular challenge. And let's talk about Jedi Fallen Order. I completed Jedi Fallen Order. I completed it a long time ago. And that game wasn't hard. It was frustrating, riddled with cheap game decisions, in my opinion. Still sold like crazy, still got amazing reviews. Although I will say kudos to whoever decided to hold a preview event at the Star Wars Disney thing. Not that I'm saying it impacted anything. What? No, it's genius. I'd have done exactly the same thing. I've got a Star Wars game coming out. Not exactly sure how it's going to be received. I'm going to go to take everybody to fucking Galaxy's Edge. Wonderful! Okay. So, the fact that you started Jedi Fallen on its most difficult, and that's you're that sort of gamer, and there's nothing wrong with that. And yes, you can drop back if it gets too annoying. The fact is that if it gets too annoying and you've got no option to get back, that's not right. That's not a smart game design decision. Giving somebody an easier option to drop down a level, to progress and experience the story, the level design, the combat, the twists and turns, everything moving forward, because they will slowly get better at it. Why cut off people when it doesn't harm you? I mean, it's just one of those things that boggles my mind. But anyway, use the suggestion box. I want to see how it works as well. I'll have to have a look at it. All right. So what I'm going to talk about next is a franchise that is quite dear to my heart. An oldie but goodie. A game I actually have thanks to Good Old Games. I actually bought recently to get running on my machine, and it's patched and it's not buggy, unlike the original release. And that is Vampire the Masquerade. Is that a cat or a vampire? That's probably a cat, isn't it? So, Vampire the Masquerade has, if you haven't played it, it's on Good Old Games if you've got a PC. And, GOG.com, and I think it's like $4.99, if that. No DRM. And it's a fun vampire action RPG. Is it Tomb Raider or Fallout or anything like that? Not a month of Sundays. I mean, this was made in what, 2000 and something or other. So yeah, it's old, but it's got a pretty good story. You get to play as vampires, different factions. You can pick different factions. Choose to bite people, give in to be a monster, whatever. It's a great story-driven RPG experience that was buggy as fuck when it first came out. So I was actually very excited to hear that a sequel is in the works, and that is, it's named Vampire the Masquerade 2. That's some fucking marketing right there. So yeah, looking forward to it. And then I kind of looked. It's coming out from Paradox Interactive. Okay. They've got a middling reputation. Not awful. Not brilliant either, but hey. And then they, some of the screenshots that have been released, it's been in development a while, looks really good. Graphics look, obviously way better than they did 20 odd years ago. And it was being developed by a company called Hardsuit Labs. Couldn't really find much about Hardsuit Labs with regards to what they've done. But news has come out today that the game's been delayed, which sucks. And doubly sucks for Hardsuit Games because they got fired from the project. Paradox also said they're going to stop taking pre-orders, which is very nice for a game that is now half finished. Don't know when you're going to have it finished. You don't know who's in charge. You don't know who's working on it, what division's going to be. Is it going to be a total reboot? When's it going to come out? So yeah, probably a good idea. Let's stop taking pre-orders or putting pre-orders out there until maybe 6 months before a game comes out. Maybe 3 months. Just do it that way. When you know a game is going to hit, let's do that. 3 months maybe. That would be fantastic, as opposed to sitting on everybody's hard-earned cash for 2-3 years. That would be annoying. So, yeah, I'm disappointed, but I'm also relieved because I'd love to see this game out there. And it just got me thinking about how much I enjoyed the original Vampire the Masquerade. And there's a couple of other iterations of good old games. The other two are sort of like text-based adventures. But if you like vampires, that's sort of like vampire mythos, whatever you want to call it. There's also a werewolf version as well. Just give it a go. I'm not shilling for good old games, although I do love good old games. Like I said, you can get Dungeon Keeper 1 and 2 on there. You can get Blade Runner, which is another one that I downloaded recently, all patched up and working on the highest end PC you can have. And those four games that I just mentioned probably set you back $20 all total. There's a lot to be said for some of the old cool shit. There's a lot of old shit out there. A lot of old shit, some of which I've worked on in my time. And that'll lead me to the next thing I'm going to talk about. But yeah, so it's just the idea of PlayStation releasing some of their classic old games on PC, up-resed, and maybe onto the PS5. It makes sense. It's wonderful. And there's a lot of other games that I would love to see. In fact, if you want to tweet at Annoyed Gamer with your remake list, we know we've got Mass Effect coming. This is me going off on tangents because I go off at tangents. So tweet me with what games you'd like to see remade, and maybe we can have a discussion next time. In fact, the next show we will talk about games we want to see remade. How about that? Done and dusted. Okay, let's see. All right, back to the chat room quickly. Okay, Frosty Ken, I understand that you guys are having a nice you're having a nice discussion. Let's just look at it from you have your Frosty Ken, you have your opinions, and your opinion is totally valid. I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm just saying that it's very focused on what you need. And I think you deep down, you think about it. Imagine playing a game with an easy mode that you go on the hard mode and you say, and I hit that wall and I hit that wall. How much of a challenge is it not to go back to that normal or easy level? Isn't that an additional incentive for you to push through on hard? When you look at it that way, when you look at that particular challenge, it's giving you an extra challenge. You could go off and go back to easy mode and forego the gold or silver trophies or whatever else that they do, or you could just persevere, and only you will know. But then that sense of achievement when you actually get through having not gone back, even though there's the option there, might even be stronger. Turn it to your advantage. Turn it to your benefit. Okay. At the end of the day, it's about yeah. Look, I mean, From Software has got a lot of awards. The game sold pretty well. I don't know the exact sales numbers. I would say that if it was a little bit easier, it might be more enjoyable. It might sell a little bit more. Or you could keep the hardcore basic version and just allow people to activate that easy version. Don't penalize people for not wanting to have the shit kicked out of them over and over and over and over and over again. Just doesn't make sense. That's all I'm saying. Am I coverage? Let's face it, that whole hold your questions till the very end, that went out the window because obviously I'm looking at the questions now. I remember the days of GT and Mr. Pacta. Are you still in contact with the boys from GT and Pac? Yeah, I talk to Shane every now and again. The other guys and girls, not as much. A lot of them, several of them actually moved east to actually work at Epic and are doing very well. There's obviously the Easy Allies crew. Obviously, over the last couple of years, it's been tough with various hospitalizations and surgeries and other bits and bobs, and then obviously pandemic. To be able to actually go out and spend time with people, E3 was probably that time for me, and it hasn't happened now. Didn't happen last year, probably won't happen this year again. So that makes it a little more tough. Mr. Pactor and we talk on text a lot. I say not a lot, but often. Check in, see how the other one's doing. It was his birthday a couple of weeks ago, so yeah. I mean, I stay in touch with a couple of people. I obviously did something with Shane on Sifted a couple of weeks ago for 3-Night Weekend. That's a fun little interview style podcast that he's done, I think, with Adam Sessler and a couple of other people since. So yeah, as long as everybody's staying safe and staying well, all I care about. Okay, now then, what am I going to talk about next? Let's see if anything has come up on the Twitter. No questions on the Twitter. All right. Do we have any questions in here? Yes, E3. Oh, E3. E3's made me the man I am today. Old, decrepit, and almost dead. I only missed one E3 ever, and that was the Santa Monica one. Every other E3 in LA I've hit, and I think maybe I missed the first one in Atlanta, and then I did the second two, and then LA. So yeah, E3 is actually, the older you get, and especially when you're in a sort of like more privileged position like me with regards to the last couple of times I've gone as a guest, and I've gone to see people, take a few meetings, but not running around trying to do coverage, not running with a camera crew, or as a PR guy, having meetings from show open till show close, and trying to juggle media from around the world. Yeah, I mean, E3 is just a great place to go and see people. The social aspect is fantastic. I don't go to the parties much anymore, with the exception of the Michael Pachter mixer that is legendary and is always fun. But yeah, it's nice to just catch up, give people a hug, find an empty table somewhere, park your ass, catch up. Because life is too short, and as an industry, we are so spread out, especially in this country. In the UK, everybody knew everybody because the games industry was based in basically three parts of the country: four: London, Bath, Bournemouth, and Macclesfield. back when I was doing games PR. That's where all the press were, and then most of the publishers the publishers were dotted around the London area. So we would see each other a lot, press tours or whatever. I mean, you drive an hour down the road from London, 90 minutes, you're in Bath, you're hanging out with the PC Gamer guys or the Games Master guys or whatever. PC Zone or what, and Ziff Davis, those guys were in London. So when I worked in London, I'd see those guys a lot. And you get to meet other PR people because you'd all go out and drink. Because I mean, this was the 90s, and we used to drink a lot, and it was fun. We'd go out, we'd party, wouldn't drive because I mean none of us had cars because we lived in and worked in London. But yeah, we just had we'd have a great time, and I do miss that. Especially, I've noticed that ever since I moved to the States in '99 and started working in the industry here in 2000. That's right, I've been here almost 21 and a half years now. I have spent more of my adult life in America than I have in the UK. Bizarre. But yeah, and look, I'm going to keep on. I'm going to just witter and reminisce. So I apologize for because this is what old people do. We have our stories, and we have the stories that we share with you, and then maybe you will share with somebody else. And they say, "Oh, somebody said so and so about that," and then they went off, and it's just a bit of fun. And the industry is different now. It's way different now. It's better in a lot of ways, which is good. But yeah, I just miss the social aspect. Going back to the whole Michael Pachter and the game trailers, guys and girls. Yeah, I miss that whole aspect, the social aspect. I miss, I tweeted out last year of all the things I'm going to miss at E3. Hugging is probably the number one thing because just catching up and just seeing people who've been a big part of your life, people who you haven't seen in a couple of years because they live in Seattle or they live in New York or they live in Atlanta or in Minneapolis. Yeah, it's obviously we have Zoom now and we can talk. We can talk to people, but it's not the same. And this is why I worry for anybody who is alone, as in they have their family on Zoom or whatever, but they're still staring at the same four walls. They're working from home and they don't have a partner or whatever. And that's why you've got to reach out and talk to somebody, have a chat. I hope you're well. Okay, hang on. Sorry, I'm gonna get. All right, let's see. Do I think E3 will stick around? Or are we looking at the beginning and the end? E3 needs to be retooled. E3 went down a shady path a couple of years ago where it started bringing in the consumer. And look, I have nothing against the consumer. The consumer is the reason that for 20 years of my life, I worked as somebody who helped make video games. And then for another period of my life, I got talking and defending and doing stuff with consumers. I am a consumer. But E3 needs to separate church and state. E3 needs to, what they should have done, and I've said this for years, is they should have gone the Gamescom route where you have 3 days of industry and then 2 days of public. So the industry can come in, do their jobs, get the interviews, get the coverage, get it up and running, get the fuck out. And then the public can come in and play games that are ready to be shown. I'm not saying that every behind closed demo has to be available to the public. It won't be. But having the public then come in for those final 2 days, that is a smart thing to do because you don't want the oil and water mixing. You don't want the consumers coming in and getting pissed because a journalist cuts the line, or a journalist having to wait an extra 10 minutes when they've got like 15 appointments in a day, or getting elbowed out the way in a scrum for a fucking Mario t-shirt. The only time we've ever had fights at E3 was when the public was let in, and the fights were at the Nintendo booth where people were fighting over swag. It's like, come on, let's manage it a little better. Let's just be better about it. And E3 can do that. E3 can make itself vital again, even though people were dropping out. Microsoft, EA, these companies who had decided to hold their own events around E3, you could bring them back into the fold. by saying we're going to do a better focus on how we digitally deliver stuff. If you want to do a showcase, do it from the show floor when you've got this amazing set. You know, Microsoft, yes, you have the Microsoft Theater next door, but come in and do this, because we're going to, you're going to have access to the press. You're also going to have access to consumers. And they're all going to be there. Make it more attractive as a package. Make it better for everybody. The companies who spend $8 to $10 million on a booth, by the way, lower the costs some. Seriously. Yeah, a little bit obscene, the LA Convention Center. One hopes that I actually would love to see it moved away from the LA Convention Center, because it's not a great venue. It really isn't. And I say that as somebody who lives 25 minutes away from it. I'd rather go and stay in Vegas for 4 days and go to a nicer convention center there, if one exists, than have to go down to the LA Convention Center, because it's overpriced. As much of LA is, the food's atrocious and is overpriced. The staff are understandably don't give a fuck, because at the end of the day, they are seasonal staff who are brought in, and they're probably getting minimum wage, if that. It would be nice for someone to open a convention center that actually is a little more well run and ethical, as opposed to shitty and takes advantage. Anyway, let's see. All right, Raypad TVS. I mean, I get to see Ray. That's the thing. Raypad, one of my oldest friends here in this country. The fact, he lives about, was it an hour by plane or 4 hours by car? But I only see Raypad at E3, or if he's in town, seeing some friends, because the older you get and the farther apart you get, you would start to appreciate your friends even more. Let me see. Yes, retailers too. I bet many publishers and developers are happy that we're moving away from E3 to the individual. So here's the problem. Anytime you look at the presentation fuck-ups and the awkwardness, that is down to people being in charge of said presentations who have no fucking right to be in charge. They don't talk to the PR people who are out there day in, day out, who are interacting with the games media, who are making plans for their games. They basically have these high-ups who bring in these star wranglers, and it's like, oh yes, we're going to have so-and-so, so-and-so, and he's going to do X, Y, and Z. And then we're going to do this live thing because the shareholders have to see this version of Connect 6.0 working. When everybody outside of that minute bubble knows it's just a fucking waste of time. That's why one of my favorite E3 presentations is always the Bethesda one. Pete Hines gets up there. He's the head of marketing and PR for Bethesda worldwide. He's got a great staff working with him. He knows his shit. He's funny. Comes out, knows what they know what plays. They know what looks good. They throw a good party. Buckety, 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 boom, and they're off. When you have a Joel McHale who is famous for being Joel McHale, the smarmy bastard, then things are not going to go as well. Jay Moore, I think, was hired once to present a press conference, and that went down like a fucking lead balloon, because again, they just view it as a gig. You get somebody who's invested, you put somebody front and center, and you can have that level of interactivity. You can have the response from the audience, the applause, whatever, whooping and cheering. Save that for the fucking NFL, all right? But if you want to, applaud something, absolutely. If you have a audience full of industry professionals, media, retailers, investors, whatever, you can still have some fun for the folks at home, but you can actually get a job done very, very simply, and it actually adds to your overall brand instead of becoming a fucking laughingstock like so many of these presentations have been over the years. I would also insist that anybody who's throwing and let's face it, these are all part of the bigger ESA. I would insist that anybody who's throwing one of these events has to be on the show floor at E3, so they can't just go and piggyback. But I would also turn around and welcome people like Devolver Digital, who've had to go rogue and pirate at parking lots across the way because they won't conform. They need to put me in charge of E3. They need to put me in charge of the fucking ESA, Entertainment Software Association. I would have that shit running like I actually piss a lot of people off, but I would definitely make it more inclusive. I would definitely make it more value to everybody, all the stakeholders, because at the moment you've got 7 or 8 companies that feel they are the major stakeholders because they're paying these subscriptions money, the dues or whatever, and they feel that they can wield the biggest dick. The ones who are just as big but not getting any recognition are the mid-level folks, the media. They need to be treated with a bit of respect too, and then the consumers need to be treated with respect. They don't need to be hanging out with media. They should be out to go get their t-shirts, play their games, and come back after 2 amazing days and say, "I had such a blast at E3." And the ESA counts their money because they've charged them an obscene amount of money to get in, and everybody goes away happy. It's a positive week all round, and that's what I do. Nobody asked me, but there you go. Let's see. Yes, the cost of an E3 booth has been silly for a long time. And again, I think it hit the sweet spot about 2 years after the Santa Monica debacle, where they had some limits. The past few years, things just went crazy again. All right, I'm going to tootle Aisha Tyler. Look, Aisha Tyler is just fucking amazing. She at least has a geek cred. She plays games, which is wonderful. Let me see. Fond memories of Konami's tech. Okay. Run it and host it. Roast the industry at the same time. Yeah. Oh, that would not be good. I just think that they bring people in who have good intentions, and they bring people in who have their own vision. But these people who perhaps are too close to the major players, and maybe it's time to step away from that sort of person. Have somebody who doesn't have a stake in the game. Have somebody who really just wants to make it better, just for everybody. No vested interests. Especially when those sort of people leave, citing, "Oh, it's a fucking disaster," and leave the ESA holding the bag. What are you gonna do? All right, Ultimate Vinny? Yeah, Aisha Tyler is fantastic. Mike Zero, gaming is bigger than ever. You won't have the Jay Moore or Jamie Kennedys of this world. Expect bigger stars in the future. So here's the thing: you can expect bigger stars, but you cannot guarantee that said bigger stars will actually be any fucking use. I mean, when Keanu walked out on the Xbox presser to talk about Cyberpunk, that was a viral moment. That worked well, but he wasn't out to present. He was out to just talk a little bit, be Keanu, tootle off. I love you too, blah, blah, blah. Worked. Matt and Trey from South Park, and I say them as if I knew them. I wish I did, because they're incredibly funny and talented guys. They worked when they were talking about Stick of Truth and the Fractured Butthole. They're if they have a bone, or they have not a bone. If they have a horse in the race, they're going to come out and talk and do it and be professional, and they're invested. And that makes for somebody better. When you pull a celebrity out there because, "Oh, this guy's so hot," then you are ending up with the risk of shit going south, because this person's going to turn up, "Oh, I'm going to do it for the exposure," or "I'm doing it because you're paying me. I really don't give a fuck." That's where it tends to fall flat in the ass. if you want somebody to come in and take the piss out of the games industry, at least do it. Have somebody who's got some cachet to do it and some chops in the industry, some rep. I'm not talking about me. I'm not that funny, but there are some really, really funny fucking script writers. I think I've seen some of them, at the Game Awards, past couple of years. Some of the actually, no, it was the Dice Awards. The hosts of the Dice Awards, their shit was fucking funny. The scripts were really good. Dice Awards 2 years ago. I was lucky enough to be there. Look it up. That was a funny fucking night. A great night. Everybody had a good time. I got hammered. And this was like about a year after the heart attack. And I was like, I'm going to Dice. Oh, this is great. I'm going to get drunk. I walked like 30 miles in 4 days. But it was great. Oh, it was great. Paid for it the next couple of days. You're breathtaking. That's it. I actually thought, Connoisseur Gamer, you were calling me breathtaking. I was touched for a minute, but then, yes, you're right. Oh, bend over because I dropped my little glasses cleaner. Oh, that hurt. You're all breathtaking too. And look, Keanu can do no wrong. Unless you watch Johnny Mnemonic. Or Sweet November, I think was the other one. Was that the one he did with Charlize Theron? Where he comes in through a window at the end of the movie with this sack, and she's like terminally ill or whatever, and he's been wooing her, and she didn't want to see him anymore. And I'm spoiling a 20-year-old movie, but who cares? So he comes in through a window into her little apartment in a sack, and then he starts pulling stuff out of this sack, like Christmas presents or whatever. And then he pulls out a fucking dishwasher. A portable dishwasher. He's carried this up like 6 flights on a fucking fire escape. Gets it through a window. Anyway, just, look up Keanu Reeves and Charlize Theron in romantic comedy type thing. It was after Devil's Advocate, which was a lot better movie. But yeah, Keanu's done some shit, but he's still a good boy. All right. Johnny Mnemonic. Come on. Johnny Mnemonic was not a great movie. Yeah. Parts of Sweet November. There you go. Sweet November. Yes, it was Sweet November. All right. Let's see. Oh, views are tumbling. People are going off to do other things. Let's have another conversation about... Pick a topic. What else? And yes, I am breathtaking. And so are all you. I've been going almost an hour. This is good. Got to keep this going. If I can get to an hour, we'll be good. I don't miss living in San Francisco. One of the year in San Francisco that I had, the most unhappy of my life. I'm not saying something. Did you enjoy Cyberpunk despite the shit show? Yes, I'm still enjoying Cyberpunk. In fact, if you look at the stream or look on the YouTube, I've done a couple of streams. And yes, the shit show. And it's... So Cyberpunk is the gift that keeps on giving. I'm on my second playthrough. And I'm finding new story chains, which are amazing. I'm finding additional missions. I'm finding new areas. We did the live stream here where I was directed to go and find the Batmobile-esque car. And I did. And we did that live. And that was a magical moment. But you know what else? It keeps on giving up new glitches. If I'm in a certain resolution, it will not give me any information on any of the weapons in my armory or any of the items in my armory. Doesn't show them at all. Doesn't give me the option to disassemble or anything if I'm in a slightly narrower resolution than usual. But the map works better because it is more of a pseudo 3D map. When I go back to the highest resolution for my monitor, which is pretty beefy, and that I can't do because it doesn't fit on... it actually doesn't fit on the Twitch screen. Because of the secondary monitor I've got running. But when I go to that higher resolution, I can then see all the info on my weapons and my clothes and my consumables and everything. But the map then becomes totally flat and 2D. So I'm not sure if there is a bug that when you're in a smaller resolution, the layers just pop off and don't handle properly. Or it gets broken when you're in the bigger resolution. Also, when you're in the bigger resolution, I have had less of driving through an area and seeing somebody like that. That's happened less, which makes me think that the PC version is not as optimized as it should be, which is not surprising. But as a fun game, as a when it sings, it sings, and I'm continuing to be a fan, and I'm looking forward to playing more over the coming weeks and months. Oh, let me see. Influencers do have the power to get people to buy games. You have the FGTV guy to show up or endorse a game, and all kids under 6 will be into it. Well, look, we've had that for decades. In the 90s, it was the fucking Teletubbies. You slap a Teletubby on something, and everybody wanted it. Barney before that, Cabbage Patch Kids before that, superheroes. It doesn't necessarily need to be, now it's changed somewhat where the influencers are hitting out to younger kids. But I mean, they're in all aspects of life. And Martha Stewart has been doing it for 30, 40 years. She was one of the first fucking influencers. So, yeah, influencers are everywhere. They can get people to buy stuff. People who are fans will buy stuff. And more power to them. I just wish that they had a little more moral turpitude, if you will, as in some scruples, and didn't shill shit. That's my problem. If you have influence over people, you got to tell them the rough with the smooth. You got to say, well, I've got paid money to do this, and I'm going to talk about this, and it's great. But if it's not great, you're ruining your fucking reputation. You're ruining your image, and you're conning your customers. You're conning your audience, which is why I'm happy to talk about Cyberpunk, why I really enjoy it. But the caveat is, I really enjoy it on a fucking monster of an Alienware PC, an Alienware Aurora PC that's fucking and can handle it, and it still has problems. I'm not talking about playing it on Xbox One or PS4. I would never recommend anybody get it on a console right now, to be honest with you. Hell, if you only have a mid-range PC, stay the fuck away. In fact, the only people who should be buying this are the people with the high-end machines, because the game's too fucking glitchy otherwise. And that's a fucking ongoing thing that they still haven't fixed, and we've been going 2 months now. Get the fucking act together, CD Projekt. You make amazing stuff. Don't screw it up. Let me see what else. Do I think Bethesda games will go exclusive for Xbox? Yeah, of course. We never even talked about this. Microsoft went shopping and they bought Bethesda way back before I came back to do some streaming. Makes me wish I'd fucking applied for that PR job at Bethesda 6 years ago. I'll be like, oh, cha-ching. One of my best friends is actually the head of PR at Bethesda. He owns a boat now. Actually, couldn't happen to a nicer guy. I mean, I've got a lot of time for the Bethesda people. I've had the pleasure of being out their offices to do some consulting for them over the years. And yeah, and I'm sharing that just to have some, transparency. I still think Fallout 76 is not a good game, but there you go. But yes, I've got a lot of time for the Bethesda people. They were very, very kind to me when I went ba-boom, ba-boom. Help start and contribute to my Kickstarter, for my medical bills. So yes, yeah, I'm pleased for a lot of people there who are getting paid. I don't think Microsoft will take Bethesda super exclusive. I think if Microsoft is smart, they will use this. There will be a lot of things that will be Xbox on PC exclusive, but they will throw some bones out there for the PlayStation. They don't want to leave. That's a big market to leave to one side. That's a big market to ignore. They'll do some cool shit. Oh, hello, 3 new followers. Sofrimento UWU, Morn Queenie, and Flip 21 centimeters. Oh, okay. You're a big boy or girl. So yes, I think we will see business as usual, especially if they treat Bethesda Game Studios and ZeniMax as uh, an autonomous entity, which I hope they do, because I'd hate to see people lose their jobs because they're absorbing stuff into to Microsoft. So down the line, who knows? Okay, let me see. Oh, we did talk. No, we talked about Stadia. I know. This is what, the fifth or sixth. I talked about Stadia a couple of weeks ago. Um, you should probably go back and look at the archives on that one. Influencers in Twitch. Stadia sealed their own fate. Yes, Stadia. Phil Harrison. Just look up Phil Harrison's track record. Phil Harrison is involved with anything, it's not going to go well. The guy's cursed, bless him. Do I do I like drinking beer? I do like a pint every now and again. The older I get, I'm more of a single malt Scotch person, which is something that I and Michael Pachter have an affinity for. Um, yeah, so I do like my beer. If I'm back home in the UK, I drink something called Brains SA, which is a local Cardiff brewery, and I do love my Brains. Can't get it over here, and it's about the only time I have any Brains. But and then I like lager. If I'm having, I like Asahi and Sapporo. I love the Japanese beers. I generally tend to lean more lager most of the time. Sometimes I'll go for a bitter or an ale. Um, Not a big fan of the fruity flavored stuff. As in, oh, this is infused with apple and orange seeds and unicorn tinkle. And I'm like, no, not me. Sorry, I own a fedora, but it's staying in the closet. I'm not, yeah, not that guy. But if you like it, you like it. And have I been to Poland? I have never been to Poland. It's one of those things that there's so many places that I never got to go to when I was living in the UK, when it was part of Europe. Even though I was European PR manager, there were never budgets to warrant trips to anywhere beyond France, Spain, and Germany, because they were the big markets. I would have loved to have gone to Poland. I'd love to have gone to Sweden, to Norway, Finland, Holland. I mean, there's so many areas. And look, I as a Brit with Brexit now, that's something that's not going to happen until I take my US citizenship and then have my US passport, and I can basically, hopefully, get into those countries without having to go through an awkward visa process. Assuming America is COVID free, of course, because nobody wants either of us right now. Mm. All right, let me see. Raypad has something in my box for me. Oh, Raypad. What's in my box? Did you make that up? I'm sorry. Ray's just got this innate skill for giving me bad news. Hang on. This has got to be. No, hold on. Fuck off, J.J. Abrams. You lens flare motherfucker. So, I'm sorry. I just looked in the suggestion box, and Raypad TV, shared that Constantine, the DC Comics character, played fantastically by Matt Ryan, that got shat on as an NBC show. They didn't have any fucking clue how to handle it, but has lived on through Justice League Dark and a couple of other bits and bobs. Is now in development to be rebooted. Obviously, there was the Keanu movie as well. A lot of people didn't like it. I didn't have a problem with it. Um, but it's in the works at HBO Max with J.J. Abrams' Bad Robot working on it. And Matt Ryan is not going to be Constantine. Fucking diabolical. The guy should be given a run at it. he's the best fucking Constantine. And if you do anything today, tweet at Bad Robot, tweet at HBO Max and at Warner Brothers and at DC to say Matt Ryan should be your fucking Constantine. He is your goddamn Constantine. And J.J. Abrams, stay the fuck out of fandom. Absolutely, stay the fuck. Anything he touches turns to shit. He had a relatively strong debut with when he rebooted Star Trek. That first one was good. Second one, oh look, I'm gonna remake the Wrath of Khan. Only I'm gonna flip it because I'm clever. Let's have some more lens flare. Third Star Trek, bag of shit. The first Star Wars, The Force Awakens, the first of the third trilogy. Fan service, heavy remake of Star Wars, ticked enough boxes, then proceeded to just shit the bed with the turd of Skywalker. Sorry, the Rise of Skywalker. We need to keep J.J. Abrams away from quality, hardcore, or quality geek-related stuff. He is Zack Snyder. Take the two of them, put them on the next rocket ship to Mars and say, here, you can drive this Tesla around. Drive this around the Mars surface for the next decade. I don't wish physical ill on them. I just wish they'd stop fucking with shit. The sooner Zack Snyder is out of the DC universe, and the sooner people realize that J.J. Abrams is a fucking hack who's obviously just, I mean, he's basically gone, he's Steven Spielberg in a truncated timeline, where Spielberg went from brilliance for 20 odd years to just Indiana Jones and the fucking Crystal Skull. Him and George Lucas. J.J. Abrams hasn't even taken that long. That's really disappointing. Matt Ryan deserves his fucking chance. He can hold it up. He can be a good John Constantine. You don't fuck with that casting. It's like making Doctor Who American. You just can't do it. Okay, let's go back. Yes, save Matt Ryan. Rumors keep surfacing that Tarantino will make a Star Trek. Yeah, I mean, he's supposed to be working on it right now. I really don't give a fuck about Star Trek, to be honest with you. I'll watch it if it's on. I liked some of The Next Generation. I enjoyed some of Voyager because of the premise of literally taking them away from everybody else. But Star Trek's been a case of diminishing returns with every single version that they've done. People talk about Discovery. I started watching it. I've got CBS All Access. I started watching it. Picard was interesting because of Sir Patrick, and so some of the things they did with like 7 of 9, but it just fizzled out. I don't think Star Trek is as viable a universe as a lot of people think, but for the mainstream anyway, it keeps the hardcore fans happy. Again, got no problem with that. Everybody look, and I can't talk. I'm a hardcore Doctor Who fan, and my universe has been under attack by a showrunner called Chris Chibnall for the last 3.5 years. The guy couldn't write a fucking parking ticket. He's so bad. I wouldn't trust him to take my food order at McDonald's. He's so bad. Yeah. Okay. Well, wow. Next up, Ray is going to send a link to me saying that Jurgen Klopp has left Liverpool or something. I'm sure he has. And that he's signed for Man City, along with fucking Mo Salah and Sadio Mane. Ugh. Yeah, that's really annoying. They're doing a young Constantine. Go blimey, Governor, let's pick somebody as an actor who's going to be all, oh, look at me, I'm John Constantine, my balls haven't dropped, but I can see dead people in it. Matt Ryan needs his dues. Yeah. Yeah, well, this is what happens when you sub me, Ray. You get the extra rants. You inspire me, my friends. All right. And on that note, it's coming up to 1:09. Thank you so much. I'm going to wind it down now. Any last questions, pop them up in the chat box. I'll try to get to them. The back is starting to throb a little. Thankfully, I took a couple of Motrin earlier, which seemed to be helping along with my tea. My voice is lasting longer now, which is good. I feel like I'm getting more into shape. I'm getting more into the thrill of things. GameStop CFO resigned, it would seem. Well, maybe he sold all his shares at a certain time, made a packet and said, fuck it, I'm out. Because let's face it, GameStop's a disaster. It's always been a disaster, and I feel sorry for anybody who's worked at a GameStop. It's a thankless fucking task. It really is. And on that note, 2.8 million. Fuck. He resigned and got a severance check. If you resign, you don't get a severance check. You just say, I'm out. All right, you're out. See ya. Pack your shit and get the fuck out. No severance check. If you let go, made redundant, you get a severance check. If you're fired, you get fuck all. Rebrand GameStop. It's GameStop is basically fucking hot topic now without the goths or the emos or whatever the fuck they are. Anyway, all right, that's it. We're coming to the end. Let's have a big thanks to everybody who's tuned in today. Big thanks to everybody who watches on the YouTube channel. Thank you for the followers. Thank you for the subs. Always fantastic. Still looking for some suggestions for you with regards to what I could offer for subs, subscribers, or even a Patreon. Yeah, let me know on Twitter. I'm at Annoyed Gamer, or send me, if you can send me a message through here, send me a message through here, or through the YouTube. Be safe, be good, behave. I'll see you probably on Friday. No stream tomorrow, and definitely no stream on Thursday when Sony are having their reveal thing. We'll talk about it though. Hey, us.